Hello and welcome, I'm Raziel, and today I want to kind of talk about the future of wargaming. Now, here's the thing, I've been watching the wargaming scene for a while now, and not only that, I've been watching other things as well and seeing if I can find a pattern. And I actually kind of found one, and it does sort of come into video games and other sort of media, but what it stems from is comic books into movies. Now, at the moment, the most comic book movies we get are Marvel and DC. Those are the two big boys we get. We've got the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe and whatever DC are doing. I mean, some are great and the others are just poor. DC, just find some middle ground here. Okay? They're either bad or they're really good. There's like nothing in between. And Marvel kind of just decided to find a formula and work that out. And, it kind of works, but they're trying to change that formula and it's failing. So, I really do need to go back to the 80s and maybe even the 90s. 90s? Even the 70s. Right. Here's what I've noticed when it comes to comic book movies. And this does actually coincide with wargaming. Trust me, I will get to that point eventually. And that is, when we go back to like Batman 1989, big hero, everyone knows who Batman is, and it gets some stick for Michael Keaton, getting the role. Now, I'm not even joking, like, that was meant to be a major turn-off, and yet he goes ahead and nails this. He's probably one of the best Batmans you can even imagine in cinema today. I mean, people say Christian Bale, and even Ben Affleck is not that bad, but, Michael Keaton was so slated at the start. However, and you saw this turn in comics and comic book movies, and that they were darker. But slowly, the Batman series became more campy and comedy, ending with Batman and Robin, with George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell. So, but round about that time, we had a bit of a low in comic books. And then early 2000s, late 90s, we had some more comeback. We had Blade, for example. And Blade was a massive hit. Everyone I know who's watched Blade loves it. Wesley Snipes kills it, quite literally, as Blade. And in that trilogy, we see Ryan Reynolds in his first Marvel movie. And then we got the X-Men. And then X-Men 2. But those who got the DVD, there was an X-Men 1.5 in between. But one that stands out during this time, because we also had a Punisher movie, we had loads of different movies, Spider-Man, etc. But we saw something come out prior, and that is The Mask. The Mask is, if not many people know, but probably do know, is based on a Dark Horse comic. Now this shows that New Line Cinema at this time was willing to take a risk on a lesser known IP, but is still a comic book. So they wanted to get into comic book movies, and they chose The Mask. And The Mask was way back as well. That was first sort of introduced in 1989, and when they first kind of got the rights. And the reason it wasn't made till the 90s was because, if you read the Mask comics, they are very, very violent. At one point, they actually wanted The Mask, New Line Cinema wanted The Mask to replace Freddy Krueger. And then in the 2000s, we had X-Men, we had the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, who went on to become Andrew Garfield, and of course Tom Holland. And this happened in a 20-year period of, what's that, 7 movies now? But once again, we see the better comic book movies coming out at this time, and probably people will disagree with me on this one, and sure you can, are Dredd, and which came out in 2000, came out in the 2010s. Then we had Sin City, that was in the 2000s. We had a Tintin adaptation, which is really good. We had Road to Perdition, History of Violence, V for Vendetta, Watchmen. Whether you like them or not, I think they're quite good films. Alan Moore had quite a few movies made out of his films, out of his comics. But what I'm trying to say here is, a lot of these companies started to sort of say, comic book movies are doing well, and let's sort of look away from this. Let's look at what else we can do, and let's not just stick to the usual superhero Marvel comics, because we had Spawn in the 90s, a film I like. I know it's not particularly good, but I enjoy it. And they started to look at, Image, IDW, and Dark Horse, and even the TV series started to look at Top Cow because we had a Witchblade series. So these companies were looking away from, everyone else. And what I see in the wargaming future is that a lot of these companies are going to say, right, there's Games Workshop, they're the big boys, they're the ones that everyone's making books about and movies about and, all of this. And when we're going to start seeing some people going, what about Kings of War? What about Wild West? Wild West Exodus would make a massive and amazing film series. I will die on that hill. Aliens versus cowboys and samurais and all that cool stuff. That would be amazing. The laws are fantastic. So, as I was saying, and not only are we, as with comic book movies, when they became popular, people started buying comics. They became popular at the same time. But when they started becoming popular, obviously people started to go, right, I don't really want to read Marvel DC, and they went to, again, Dark Horse, Image, 2000 AD, all these other companies, and these companies saw a growth too. And that's what I'm seeing with wargaming. Everyone's like, do you know what? I see Warhammer, I see it. I wonder if there's anything else in this hobby, anything else that might interest me, lore-wise, model-wise, etc. And so people have started to move on from Games Workshop, not for any sort of reason other than they want to try something new. And that's it. There's no malice, no, I hate GW. It's like, you know what, I've played GW, I like Warhammer, or I don't like Warhammer. What else is there to offer me? We've got Warlord Games, we've got Warcradle, we've got Mantic. And we're seeing these companies grow too, a lot underneath GW. Now, I'm not saying GW is bad, okay? They are they are the gateway to wargaming for many people. And that's what I think is fantastic, because now wargaming is becoming more popular. We are seeing more people trying these other games. And in my opinion, they're seeing better models, especially with Wild West Exodus and from Warcradle. They make the best models. Or Conquest from Parabellum Games, they make fantastic models. And then we got, IPs like Halo coming to the tabletop now. Not just as a board game, but as a proper tabletop skirmish game. Which, again, just shows you how big wargaming is getting. I said, and I thought this was the ballsiest move Mantic ever done, was they literally went to Adepticon, GW's premier convention, the big one for them guys, right, in Las Vegas, a big convention. Well, it's not in Las Vegas, that's the Las Vegas Open. Well, it's in Illinois. And they went there with an IP that's more, and this is just the intellectual property, not free for free. This is just Halo, worth more than Games Workshop. And they showed off this brand new game, and it's fantastic. The Halo Flashpoint game is really good. It's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to the Assassin's Creed game. So a lot of these, these companies that make these video games or, comics such as Walking Dead and Hellboy, Mantic had great success with those two, and still with Walking Dead. And they're trying to experiment how to breach out their audience into another sort of medium. And that's great, and that's what I think we're seeing. As with the comic book movies growing the comic book industry at the same time, we're seeing Games Workshop growing the wargaming industry with the other companies, because people are just wanting to see something different. They just want to see something that, that's new or, better, or anything, however you want to put it. And this is what makes me really excited for the future of wargaming. Yeah, and by the way, if you've noticed, I've put gameplay footage up today because, honestly, it's just slideshows may be a bit worn out, especially if I can't talk about anything, that I can really show, like models, etc. So I thought, let's show some gameplay footage from Borderlands 3. And actually, I'm doing a video about Borderlands 3, and, well, it's going to have Borderlands 3 in it, and it's about Mantic. That's coming up in the next coming weeks. But you won't see the same footage twice. And, yeah, I'm just doing an Amara run at the moment. First run on the PlayStation 5. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like to save money on your wargaming, I would, go click Whaling Games down below. Up to 20% off your war games and free delivery after £20. And then you got Forbidden Planet for comics, DVDs, mangas, etc. My comics, if you want to see Little Red Riding Hood go absolutely ham on some Lovecraftian werewolf cyborgs. And there is also the one where you want to see teenagers get sliced up by a tentacle monster. That's there down below as well. Then there is Skyforge, never forget Skyforge, and my merchandise as well. I can't forget about that, and Skyforge. But Skyforge is more important than me. And Patreon, because business. Bye bye.